Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Gunner April Horan. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching this ceremony broadcast across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you're able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Justin Hercules Breguet. Justin Hercules Breguet was born in 1897, the youngest of 3 sons born to Justin and Rose Breguet of Geelong, Victoria. Known as Gus to his family and friends, Breguet attended a local state school and later worked as a grocer and bread carter. He was said to have a deep baritone voice and used to sing Scottish songs at local concerts in Australia. Before signing up, he gained valuable military experience by serving for 4 years as a senior cadet in a local militia unit. Breguet enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force in July 1915, the same month as 2 of his mates, Alan Eldridge and Ernest Hopkinson. Breguet's older brother Leslie also served in the war, enlisting in April 1915 and serving on Gallipoli. All 4 of these soldiers, Justin Breguet, his brother and his mates, would fight together in the same battle on the Western Front in 1916. In February 1916, Breguet and his mates, Alan and Ernest, embarked on the transport ship Ballarat from Melbourne to Suez in Egypt. They were too late to serve on Gallipoli and were instead headed for the Western Front. They served in the 29th Infantry Battalion, which formed part of the 8th Brigade of the 5th Australian Division. After nearly 3 months training in Egypt, in June 1916, they sailed for France. Upon arrival in France, Breguet, Eldridge and Hopkinson transferred from Marseille to Hazebrouck, near the French-Belgian border. On the 19th of July 1916, they took part in Australia's first major engagement on the Western Front, the Battle of Fromelles. Australian forces formed the northern pincer of an attack on a bulge in the German lines known as the Sugarloaf. After a 7-hour bombardment of the German lines, Australian troops climbed out of their trenches and into no man's land. The 8th Brigade successfully took its objectives and held the German lines, but was forced to retreat in the early hours of the following morning after a German counterattack. Australian forces suffered over 5,500 casualties. Breguet was killed in the chaos and confusion of this bloody battle. He was 19 years old. There are a number of conflicting accounts of what happened to him as the 29th Battalion charged the German lines. Alan Eldridge, Breguet's mate from Australia, said that they climbed out of the trenches next to each other, and as they ran across no man's land, a shell burst in front of them. Eldridge was wounded and forced to head back for medical treatment. He never saw Breguet again and supposed him to have been killed by the high explosive artillery blast. Another report states that Breguet was seen in the newly captured German trenches after the initial attack, but not seen again after the German counterattack. He was officially declared missing, and inquiries were made as to whether he was killed, wounded, or taken prisoner of war by the Germans. In the aftermath of the battle, his exact fate was unknown. Justin's older brother Leslie also fought in the battle. He was wounded, and whilst recovering in hospital, wrote home to his parents, "I have not met Justin yet. I am so longing to see him. I hope he is safe and through the 19th July battle." He would never see his brother again. Breguet's body was not located, and in March 1917, he was officially declared to have been killed in action. His name was originally recorded on the VC Corner Memorial in Fromelles, which lists the name of soldiers of Fromelles who have no known grave. In 2008, a team of Australian researchers located a mass grave containing the remains of 250 Australian and British soldiers behind the lines of the Fromelles battlefield. Breguet's remains were positively identified in May 2016, and he now lies in the Fromelles Pheasantwood Military Cemetery. Justin Breguet's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A group photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. Private Breguet is located on the right. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Justin Hercules Breguet, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
If you're able, please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We'd like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.